everyone. Today has been a jam-packed Sudoku day. So let us hop into this. If you did not know, I stream uh, a few days a week. I would say what days they are, but it's going to change shortly, so I won't bother saying. But I stream regularly. My 200th stream is going to be next Saturday, so hopefully you'll join us for that if you have not joined the stream before. It should be a lot of fun. So I did that earlier today, and then we debuted a video of Tristan and Tallcat, yes, that Tallcat, solving a Paradoku puzzle that Ransk and I had set. So when this dropped, we were in the middle of doing a watch party for that video. And so now I have found out that Simon has done this puzzle, Soliloquy, so I'm going to do a reaction to that. Now I'm going to talk about Paradoku a good bit in this. I won't spoil anything about that Paradoku if you haven't seen it or whatever and want to go back and watch it. I do recommend going back and watching Tristan and Tallcat solve, or grabbing a buddy and solving it. I think it came out well. But I'm going to talk about it a little bit because as I'm going to describe, this puzzle was originally envisioned in my mind as going to be a Paradoku. So that's sort of how it all started. But let's get the video started and get through Simon's intro, and tell me how the audio level is relatively. First of all, make sure you can hear the audio, and then we'll see how my voice compares to Simon's, and I can adjust it.
Hello and welcome to Sunday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where yes, I am back on my desktop today, so no more laptop, at least pro tem, and this is very exciting for me. And also exciting is the fact that we are doing a zetamath puzzle
Simon
today.
is a little louder, I'm a little
and this
quieter.
one might be bordering on approachable. It's called Soliloquy. One of my favourite words, actually. It's a beautiful word. I have no idea what it means in the context of zetamath.
How's that now? Welcome, Leah, and you can thank Nicholas for your gifted membership. He's still louder even now. Are you sure, or is that from the past?
Setting a puzzle. A soliloquy is like, the soliloquy in Hamlet, where Hamlet talks to himself, and as Maverick flies past, Maverick wants to get in on our soliloquies today.
I am bigger now.
But yeah, so
Simon's still louder.
Clearly is maybe having a conversation with
better.
Himself about the devious nature of the
Still
Nabna
slightly
lines
louder.
that are included in this puzzle. So these yellow lines are sort of...
Oh, hey, Nicholas. Nicholas is still here. Excellent.
So Nabna is Renban spelt backwards. I think I have done a puzzle with this constraint before. It might even have been by zetamath. But it was a long time ago, and I can hardly...
Yeah, Nabner, the original puzzle that I named Nabner, is one of my favorite Cracking the Cryptic solves ever. In terms of like the video that Simon made, and Simon was like very much on the wavelength to understand what was going on, and it has a lot of big like epiphany moments. So that is one of the ones I go back and watch fairly regularly. So that is that. Simon is already asking why it's called Soliloquy, and the answer is because, as I'll talk about, when I started setting this puzzle, my goal was to set this puzzle as a Paradoku, but then I realized it wasn't really worth being a Paradoku, and so then I sort of put it all in one grid. He also mentioned it might be approachable, because I think it's currently at 3 stars on LMD. I think in a first, this puzzle has gone back and forth more than once on LMD between being listed at 3 stars and 4 stars. So it's probably like right on the border there.
Do you remember it? But yeah, this I will read the rules properly in a moment or two. This only has 3 stars out of 5 for difficulty on Logic Masters Germany. So you never know. We might be able to do it with some sort of aplomb. We'll see. Now, speaking of the great man zetamath, I got sent something very, very exciting yesterday, which was the first draft of our new book. So this is the book that we launched on Kickstarter all those months ago. Well, I have now seen a 200-page draft of said book. I was going to show you. I don't know if I'm allowed to do this, but I'm going to do it anyway. Look, some of the graphic art in it is just amazing. I can't think who that is. There's another one of me on the next page.
What a picture.
And then I don't know how much of this I can actually show you, but I'll just, and there may be mistakes. So, I mean, this obviously, this has all got to be approved in due course, but it's absolutely extraordinary. Absolutely extraordinary stuff. New puzzles there, puzzle hunts. Anyway, this is all very, very exciting. So we are reaching that point where the book is not that.
Oh, yeah, I have a few puzzles in the book, one of which is new, and I'm very excited to see Simon's solve of it, because Simon mentioned that it was a wee bit of a beast when he solved one of the puzzles for the book. So if you get the book, you can see the new puzzle and see Simon's solve of the new puzzle, which I am quite looking forward to.
That far away now. If you haven't got it and you would like to order a copy, I think you still can. Don't hold me to that. I think you still can. I'll try and remember to put a link, if you still can, in the video description under the video. But anyway, not that far away. What else? We've got the closing date for Tennis Anyone, which is our monthly reward on Patreon, is today. So let me see. Have I got a picture of this? I might do. Yeah, there we go. So this is Glum Hippo's fabulous Sudoku.
You know, I don't think of myself as a setter who sets particularly difficult puzzles, but the puzzles that are in the book are arranged not alphabetically, as you might suspect from the fact that all of my puzzles are at the end, but in order of the video length of the solve of them. And from that point of view, my puzzles are among the harder in the book.
Hunt. Loads of you have been enjoying that. We've been loving the feedback on it. If you want to be in with a chance of winning the competition, please send your answers in by the end of today. And given this video is going live at 8:30, we're flexible on time zones. So providing some sort of time zone, you meet the deadline. Don't worry, just get your answers in soon. And then shout outs. I've got loads of shout outs to do today. I'm sort of catching up from after my holidays. But I'm going to start with 2 weddings that
I'll definitely get the book.
Happened yesterday.
Fun fact, I only fell into the Sudoku world because of the first book. I guess I was doing an app in the App Store that turned out to be from Cracking the Cryptic, but the app advertised the Kickstarter for the first book, which is how I found this channel and started watching it, and that's how I ended up solving and setting all of these puzzles. So the book has a strong sort of sentimental attachment to me because it's really the whole reason why I'm here now doing all of this. Also, I can't help but notice now that I'm looking at the grid that these 3 lines are all different thicknesses, and that bothers me a bit.
For Cracking the Cryptic viewers, so Peter and Catherine got married in Cumbria, and Alice and Sam, I'm not sure where you got married, but your friend Hannah told me all about your wedding, as you know, and I hope that the 2 weddings went off splendidly. Send us a picture, we'd love to see. And then some birthdays. So Noah, over there in Tennessee, it's your birthday today, and I know this because your brother Isaiah, 2 very biblical names there, in Colorado.
Oh, that's a very good point. Having different thicknesses actually does make it easier if you have color issues. So it won't feel that it was a failure on my part that I didn't notice and fix it. We'll feel that it is a deliberate effort to make the puzzle more accessible. That all the lines have different thicknesses. That is a very sensible reason to do it. I know puzzles that are just a bunch of different colors of lines are tricky for color-wise because, well, everyone has different colors that look the same or different to them.
Otto wrote to us and said you'd appreciate a shout-out. I hope you got chocolate cake, Noah. Lucas.
They're not palindromes, I can confirm.
It's your birthday today, and I know this because your girlfriend Cassie wrote to us. Apparently you're both pianists, so love the Mozart intro. Well, we love the Mozart intro too. But I'm jealous of the fact that you 2 can probably play it. James, you've turned 6 today, I believe. And you're
Shout
a big
out
Thomas
to
the
James.
Tank Engine fan. Well, why wouldn't you be? And your brother, Nikolai, is turning 13 in a couple of days as well. And I know this because your mum, Ashley, sent me basically your whole family's list of birthdays I mean, we can't do all the birthdays, but I would like to. I'll shout out some of the names: Anthony, Screech, and Jaina as well, who've got birthdays coming up at various points during the year, and we're delighted that the whole family seems to watch Cracking the Cryptic. Graham, you've
Yes,
turned
welcome
43
Brennan, our
today, and
newest
I know this
windmill.
because your son Joel wrote to us. And then Thomas. Well, these are old birthdays that I didn't have a chance to shout out because I pre-recorded my holiday videos. So Thomas, over on the 9th of August, your girlfriend Sarah, I think it's Sarah, it might be Sarah, but I think it's Sarah in Spain, wrote to us, and you've been watching for 3 years, and apparently you are having chocolate cake, or you did have chocolate cake on your birthday, Thomas. So I hope it was good.
One can never have
with
enough
the correct
chocolate cake.
ratio
That is
of
a
icing to
basic
cake,
fact
1
of
to
life.
1, of course. Elizabeth, you turned 38 on the 10th of August, and you spent your birthday camping. I'm so sorry to hear that, but hopefully you're back now in the warm and dry. And then Alex, you turned 31 on the 10th of August, and I know this because your friend Joel asked us to shout you out. So Alex, I hope you had a brilliant birthday too, and that's all the birthdays I've got for today. I'll carry on catching up over the coming days, so if you haven't heard your birthday and you expected to hear it, hopefully I will not miss it. But let me read you the rules of zetamath's colourful soliloquy. They are as follows. Normal Sudoku rules apply. So we've got to put the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row, in every column, and in every 3x3 box. Adjacent digits along a green line must differ by at least 5. So these green lines are sometimes called German whispers lines, and let's put a 1 in there. So this digit has to be at least 5 different from 1. So it could be 6, 7, 8, or 9. Those are all the things it could be. Now, digits on a purple line must form a set of non-repeating consecutive digits. These digits can appear in any order. So we've got 2 purple lines. So if this cell here was a 1, these squares here would have to be consecutive as a set. They would have to be 1, 2, 3, and 4. So these digits would be 2, 3, and 4 in some order. They don't have to go in order, they just have to be in some order. So the whole
Shout out to
Renbon's,
Renbon's, the best Sudoku constraint.
Now, what next? Digits along an arrow must sum to the digit in that arrow's circle. So we've got a plethora of arrows. So here, if this was a 2 and this was a 4, 2 plus 4 equals 6. We'd write 6 into the circle. So arrows are a little bit...
I wonder what percentage of arrows in my puzzles that have appeared are length 2. So I tend to ripple a little bit at giving a 3-length arrow, since that lets you write 6, 7, 8, 9 into a cell right away, and that feels a little generous. I don't know. I can't quite ever bring myself to do that. So, but there are lots of 2-length arrows in my cell or in my puzzles.
Mathematical. Then we've got along a thermometer, we've got 1 thermometer. Along a thermometer, digits must increase from the bulb end. So we could do something like this: 1, 3, 5, and you can see that just as temperature rises, just as mercury rises, indeed, as the temperature rises, so our digits must rise as we move along a Sudoku thermometer.
And yes, I will say, just because I'm sure it hurts everyone's brain as well. I really did try very hard to have no clues in box 5. It would have been so much nicer if I could have kept clues out of box 5, but I just couldn't quite. It made me very sad.
And then we've got that. And this is the kicker. These are the weird rules. So then we've got golden lines are Nabner lines. No 2 digits selected from the set of digits on a Nabner line can be consecutive. So, what does that mean? So that means if this was a 1 and this was a 5, this digit could not be 2.
Yeah, I've set a whole bunch of puzzles in a row that have Nabner lines in them recently.
It couldn't be 4.
I don't know. I only set one Nabner puzzle before, but lately I've been on a kick of sort of finding... I think this puzzle made me really appreciate... how much you can do with Nabner lines. So I've set several Nabner puzzles, including one I published actually just this morning. I published a puzzle called Cascade, which is a Nabner white dot puzzle.
And it couldn't be 6, because if it was 4 or 6, obviously those digits are consecutive with the 5. So I think we could do something like that. 159. That would be completely legitimate. None of those digits are consecutive with any other digit. So that would work. And that's what we need to do with the golden lines. So do have a go at the puzzle. The way to play is to click the link under the video. But now I get to play. And therefore it's time to say, let's get cracking. Now, I wonder. Oh, by the way, big shout out to Chain Bear, the YouTuber, whose YouTube channel is based around Formula One. Chain Bear sent us 2 amazing little short videos recently. He's absolutely brilliant with sort of graphic design and video technology, and he made us a video of the Fistemafel ring theory and the proof of that, and also the secrets of German whispers. So if I remember, I will put those on the channel at some point soon, because they're really good. I did post one of them on TikTok, the Fistemafel one. Yeah, I was just thinking, do I start by talking about the secrets of German whispers here, or do we talk about something else? Nabna lines feel to me to be horrible. They feel very, very unintuitive. 2-cell arrows. It's going to be. I think it's going to be German whispers. I mean, I can see things like 5 in box 1 is on the yellow line. So let's just talk briefly about why that occurs to me as a thing, and that's because you can never put 5 on a green line, because if you try and put 5 on a green line, the next digit has to be 5 different from 5, and if you go up you get to 10, which is not a Sudoku digit, or higher, and if you go down you get to 0 or negative numbers, and they're not Sudoku digits either. So green lines
Welcome back, Martin.
5. Also, they oscillate,
this is quite a treat.
I mean, let's say this digit was a 2. Now this digit has to be at least 5 different from 2, so it has to be higher than 5. So every digit you can sort of divide into a polarity that is above and below 5, and what you find is that the digits alternate polarity as you move along the line. And there's another secret, which is about 4s and 6s. You can't put 4s in the middle of green lines, or 6s in the middle of green lines, because 4 and 6 are monogamous digits. They only have one partner, and therefore if you do try and put a 6 on a green line, you can put a 1 above it, but you can't. You need to put a 1 below it as well, because the 6 only likes to partner up with the 1. It's the only valid option. The same is true of 4s and 9s. So those are.
I do always love this phrase monogamous digit and the whole story behind the lore of the digits and their relationships, but it always amuses me that a 4 as a monogamous digit will only date the most polyamorous digit there is, and likewise 6 also only dates the most poly digit that there is. It always amuses me greatly. I wonder if it causes relationship problems.
Of German whispers lines, and that's what would allow me to do that. Which I see. So that means I can't put 4s and 6. Okay, so that means I can't put 4 and 6 on the yellow line. So, okay, that is something, isn't it? So 4 and 6 have to go. Yeah, okay. Okay, that's already. I really like that, because it's really simple and yet really powerful, actually. Because what I'm now thinking is the 4 and the 6 that can't go on the yellow line, they're very powerful when we plonk them on the green line, but can we put them on the same green line? No. Because if you put 4 here, for example, 4 here, that would cause this to be 9. Now, this can't be 6, can it? Because 6 is definitely not 5 different from 9. So one of these lines has 4 on it, one of them has 6 on it. So one of them has, and because we can't put 4 and 6 in the middle, we've got, yes, right. This is really lovely, actually. I mean, I think I've already said that once, but I'm going to say it again, because it is. It's really pretty. We're going to get a 1-9 pair in these squares, but because we don't know where 4 and 6 go on the green lines, but we do know that they must be in a corner cell in box 1, because we can't put them in the middle of a green line. And wherever the 4 and the 6 go, they're going to... The 4 will put a 9 in one of those two squares, and the 6 will put a 1 in one of those two squares. So that is a 1-9 pair straight away. And the weird thing is, we don't know anything about where the 4 and the 6 go. Well, we know approximately. I know that the 4 is in one of 4 positions, but I still am able to use that fact to generate a 1-9 pair. So now this green line has no 1 or 9 on it.
We did not do a bet tree. So I mentioned that this was originally a sort of a paradoku in my brain. And so like often I sort of start setting puzzles in my head. The setup I had was these two German whispers with the Nabner line in the middle. And so my thought was, I will shrink myself slightly. My thought was, oh, if someone has this as their grid, and so just in case you've not seen how a paradoku works, the way it works is that two different people get different grids and they talk to each other to solve the puzzle. And so I thought one person could get this grid with just that, and then one person could get the grid with just that in box 1. And I thought it would be very interesting if, in order to actually get started, because two German whispers tell you nothing, and a Nabner line tells you nothing. And so eventually, sort of the person would be forced to communicate, well, 5 I can at least say is in the middle. And then the person with a Nabner line could say, well, I guess I can at least tell you that 4 and 6 don't go in the middle. And that would lead to this sort of back and forth. And I mean, that's exactly what Simon just did. But the reason why I ended up thinking this does not really ultimately need to be a paradoku in any meaningful way is because the clues don't overlap. And it seems kind of pointless if the clues are not going to overlap to make it a paradoku, because, well, you might as well make the clues overlap, and they didn't. So it's like, well, I can just let one solver have that whole sort of conversation with themselves. Hence the title Soliloquy, by the way. I did set after this... I did set after this a paradoku with ranks, as I mentioned, which is called Duet, and so hence the titles of the puzzles. Anyway, also, Josh has been a member for 13 months, so thank you so much, Josh, for that. I greatly appreciate the support, and I'm glad that I get to keep doing this. Thanks to everyone supporting us, so thank you so much.
And there's no 9 in an arrow, which is probably more to the point. So 8 is the highest digit in an arrow circle now. So the minimum value of these squares would be 6, 1 plus 2 plus 3.
Apparently my arrows are
So
60% length 2 and 40% length 3.
12. No.
Although, how many of the length 3 ones are in 2 truths and a lie? So the ones in 2 truths and a lie are length 3, but then don't tell you anything.
Actually, okay, so maybe this sort of battery of arrows is not quite where we're meant to look. I don't think... Does it matter that we... Oh... Okay, so maybe... Alright, sorry. Maybe it's to do with the Nabner lines in box 2 rather than the green line. So the Nabner lines have to contain 1 and 9. And so whichever Nabner line has 1 on it can't have 2 on it. But you could put 2 on the other Nabner line. So it's not... I don't think we're being told, although I might be wrong about this, but I don't think we're being told that 2 and 8 have to be on this green line, are we? So let's just imagine 1 went up here. Then 2 can't go up here, but 2 could go on that one. Yeah, I'm not seeing the point of this at the moment, so let me just mull this over. Oh, come on, Simon. Okay. Okay, no. So these digits are actually, they can only be from 2, 3, 7 and 8, can't they? Because if we put 4 or 6 on the green line, we're going to need to partner up the 4 and the 6 with 1 or 9, which are not allowed on it. So the fact you knock 1 and 9 off the green line also means you knock 4 and 6 off the green line. We know we can't put 5 on the line, so we've got 2, 3, 7 and 8 on the line. So the middle digit here is restricted, because if the middle digit was 7, 7 is almost monogamous. It's really bigamous. It likes to partner up with 2s and 1s only, and 1 is not an option, so you can't put 7 in the middle of the line. And that must work the same way with 3. If you put 3 in the middle of the line, 3 is bigamous. It only likes to partner up with 8 and 9, and 9 isn't an option, so that cannot be 3. Now, so it's either 8 surrounded by 2.
Shout out to MicroStudy, by the way, for suggesting this orientation for box 2 when we talked. So I originally talked about to MicroStudy about the idea of making this a pairdoku, and MicroStudy suggested maybe something like this would be a natural way to sort of continue this. Was much better than my original idea to make a sandwich clue. But I tend to avoid outside clues, not because I don't enjoy outside clues, but because it shrinking the grid makes me sad.
2, 3. Or it's 2 surrounded by 7, 8. Now, the option there that feels far more difficult to me is 2 with 7, 8, because that's going to knock all of these digits down. Oh, yeah, this is straightforward. It's straightforward and pretty. That is not 2. Because if that's 2, and this is a 7, 8 pair to make the German whisper line work, the highest digit I can put in these circles is 6, which means the highest digits I can put into the 3 circles would be 6, 5, 4. Now, what are these digits then? Well, none of these digits could be a higher digit than these cells, could they? So these would have to be 1, 2, 3. And then these cells would have to be 7, 8, 9. Or to put that another way, we clearly cannot put 7, 8, or 9 down here. That just will not work. So they would all have to go on the green line, and the polarity of the green line doesn't oscillate anymore, and that's total nonsense. So this is required to be an 8, and if that's an 8, these two squares have got to be 2s and 3s.
I think in my setting this, I first said, well, 4 and 6 in row 2 both go in arrow circles, and then did a little bit from there to sort of get there. I think I didn't sort of leap immediately there. I said, okay, well, what's the other thing that joins them? Well, it's either going to be a 3 or a 7, and then did it that way.
Which unfortunately takes all the pressure. Well, it takes quite a lot of pressure off these digits, but they still... Okay, let's just think about this. We might pencil mark this. 4, 5, 6, and 7 are the options for these squares. So 8, this is so lovely, zetamath. It's got a real flow to it, this puzzle. Because now, where do you put 8 and 9 in this?
I do love, by the way, and this is quite intentional, that the arrows tell you the flow of the puzzle. The arrows are very much saying, hey, go around this direction. That was quite a thing. Like, I found an arrow that pointed down over here that would work, but I rejected it because I didn't want to break the sort of flow around the grid
Box. And the answer is not there on arrows that only add up to a maximum of 7. So 8 and 9 have to be up here, which tells us the polarity must go like this. So this square's got to be... this square has to be low polarity and sits between an 8-9 pair. And now look, now 9 is on this line by Nabna. Well, no, by Sudoku. This square here is 4, 5, 6, or 7, but that's Nabna'd 4, 5, 6, or 7. So can we say anything about that? I don't think so. 8 has to be in one of these cells by Sudoku.
Oh, Simon, yeah, missing the fact that he has a corner marked 5 on the Nabner line, meaning there's not a 4 or 6 there.
Now everything goes to pot, does it? No, hang on, one more point. That's not 4 or 6. Because we know that 4 and 6...
Yeah, the way I did this, rather than immediately going to the fact that if this was a 2, we'd have a problem, was that we always used a 2 and an 8 in these cells. And so these circles could never be 8. And so therefore the 8 and the 9 did that. So I did that pencil mark before this pencil mark. It's the same logic, just in a slightly different order.
6. Because we know 5's on the Nabner line. 4 and 6 can't be on the Nabner line. So this is 5 or 7. So 4, okay, so 4 and 6 are in the circles of the arrows. So the 4, whichever one of these is 4, has a 1-3 pair. That's the only way of making 2 digits that have to be different add up to 4. So one of these, oh, if it's this one, that's not going to work, is it? Oh, well, what I'm thinking here is if that's 4 with a 1-3 pair beneath it, then this is 2. And those 4 digits are 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I'm thinking that probably makes this line hard. So this is a Nabner line. Now, you can't do that. That won't work. This isn't 4. Because if you have to select 4 different digits from the 5 different digits, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9.
I will say to chat is observing that Simon actually proved that one of these has to be 7 before. But it is very hard to note when you prove something that's stronger than what you actually intended to prove while you're in the middle of a solve. It happens to me all the time that I prove something that's stronger and then chat has to tell me that, like, hey, didn't you notice that you also proved this?
9, and make sure that 2 of them are not any...
I will say, by the way, my way of proving that one of these is 7 is that if I don't put a 7 up here, I have to put a 7 down here because there's a 7 in the box somewhere. And then I'm putting a 7 on an arrow that's summed to less than 7. So I wouldn't do it the way that he did it before, but certainly the way he did it before is perfectly adequate to prove that there has to be a 7 in here.
2 of them are not consecutive. You cannot do it. If it was a 3-cell line, you could do it with 5, 7, and 9. But once you have to then pick the 4th digit, whether you pick the 6 or the 8, you've got a big problem. So that is not 4, is what we can actually say, for what that's worth.
Simon seeing that right away was exactly why I put this Nabner line here, was exactly to break that combo.
That's not 4, because we've just said that 4 has to be in this sequence. This is 4. This is quality setting. It really is. Okay, look. If this is 4, why don't I think this works? Well, have a look at this. This is a green line that's going to oscillate polarity, and it's 4 cells long. So 2 of these digits, as Maverick does another fly past, 2 of these digits have got to be low digits, selected from 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 2 of them have got to be high, selected from 6, 7, 8, and 9. And we don't know which is which, but I know that I need 2 digits from 1, 2, 3,
yeah,
and 4.
D-Web makes a good point that, seeing the 4 can't go here is easier. And I did put in this first to say the 4 can't go there, and then realized that it was very natural to then iterate on it here. In fact, actually, that's why this whisper ended up here, was to put that low there so it would break the Nabner if I put it there.
4 on the green line, so I can't take 3 of the digits from 1, 2, 3, and 4 and hypothecate those
for the people noting that, like, wouldn't it be nice to see Cracking the Cryptic solve with chat? And yeah, their chat gets tens of thousands of people. For the record, I would be okay with having the problem of having tens of thousands of people watching my stream while I solved things. I would find a way.
For these 3 cells in column 9, I will be unlow digit. This green line will be unlow digited if we were to do that. So that's not 4. This is not 4. This is 4. This is a 1-3 pair. Now this looks like it's operating on this line. So now Actually, that doesn't look very friendly. Okay, maybe that's not right then. So maybe it's a 6 in one of these we've got to think about. So 6 in 2. So if this is a 6, this is either 1, 5, which would cause a sort of X-swing of 1s, wouldn't it? So you then couldn't put 1s in any of those squares, because we'd already have the... If this was 1, 5, the 2 1s that we know must exist in these 18 cells are confined to that little 2 by 2 area. But this, if this was 6, this could also be 2, 4, although that would require the 4 to be low down. Oh, my phone's buzzing. Okay, that's fine. 5 or 7 here.
They have done live solves before.
Sorry, I'm not spotting the next trick.
Like when they did the app, and they came out with the 500k subscriber celebration pack.
Is this in some way obvious? Probably. Probably is obvious. Oh, hang on. Yes, it is obvious. Of course it's obvious. Goodness me, Simon, what's wrong with your brain? Still in holiday mode. Okay, let's have a look at this box and ask where 7 goes, because I think that is quite a decent question. 7 is definitely not here, because if 7's on this arrow, once by the time you've added up the digit beneath it, you're going to get a number bigger than 7 in the circle. So 7 in this box has to be in one of those 2 squares, but we know that 6 is also here. So in fact, this is a 6-7 pair, and that square is a 5, which is probably the least good option for this square, because we already knew there was a 5 on this line. But what does that do over here? Right. Well, now 5 in this box is in one of those 2 squares, which means 5 is on this Nabna line. This is gorgeous. So now this Nabna line hasn't got 4 or 6 on it, because it does have 5 on it, and that means those squares are now known to be 4, 6, and 9, and these squares are now known to be, I want to say, 1, 5, and 7. So this isn't 1. 7 is down here by Sudoku. Whichever one of these is 5 has a 1 or a 2 beneath it, because if it's either going to add up to 6 or 7, so one of these squares is...
Practice makes perfect, Trisha. If you set puzzles for long enough, you will be able to set puzzles that make you happy, I would bet.
1 or a 2. Oh, yeah, I know something as well. Because this line contains the 4 and the 6, which we know live in the corners of this box, these 2 squares are a 4, 6 pair. This is just beautiful. Now, this is a 2 or a 3. Oh, God, I thought it was a whisper, but it's not. That's fine. That's fine. It can be 2 or 3. I thought I'd broken the puzzle. Right. Okay, so one thing I can see here is that this square is now 7 or 8, because these 2 can't be a 7-8 pair in row 3. Because if they were a 7-8 pair, that would imply both of these digits on whisper lines should be low digits, but one of them is a 9, so that digit is a 7 or an 8. Okay. Now for our next trick, we will say it's really hard to see how that's going to how we're going to know which of these is 4 or 6. I mean, I'm sort of just presuming that the Nabna lines down here aren't going to do very much. I think I'm missing something here. What is it that I've just got a feeling there's something about this box that I'm not appreciating.
I don't think he has to worry about that box yet. I think I think the lowest hanging fruit is where are 8 and 9 in column 8.
So maybe I'm wrong.
But it's not an obvious question to ask.
Do we know how this box works? We know that whatever's not used here, of 2 or 3. Well, no, actually, what I was about to say was total rubbish here as well. So I need one. These squares are from 1, 2, 3, and 5. That is certainly true. One of them is 5. The other is quite a low number. So if that was 5, this would be 1, 2, or 3. Adding up to,
Bye,
so
Michael. Hope you have a good day.
Include a 6, I think. No. All right. I've lost the plot here, haven't I? I'm not understanding this.
Yep, that's exactly the intended
column 9
thing.
Has 2.
Judith.
2 high digits. We know that this. Okay. So that digit's not a 6. So what I'm saying is that we know that the 4-cell green line has 2 high digits on it. So 2 of the digits 6, 7, 8, 9. So combined with those 2 cells, that's all the high digits used for this column. So these squares have to be low digits. Yeah. Okay. That's not the most helpful thing in the world, is it?
Yep, Simon is halfway there. I will say, at the point I was setting this, I didn't have this Renbon, and I really resisted putting a Renbon in the puzzle. I mean, I love Renbon, so I'm not that hard to sell, but I felt like I'd used enough constraints at this point that I should be able to get it to work with just the others. But this Renbon did its job so perfectly that I just couldn't not use it. And so I ended up keeping it. But I really resisted sort of like adding the additional constraint, but it rewarded perfectly the deductions. So I had to keep it.
So the highest digit you can have on this now is...
It did call out to me from the Sudoku dimension.
I see what you're doing here, you naughty little zetamath. Okay. So now I'm going to ask a question about column 8. Where does 9 go in column 8? And I don't think you can put 9 here. Because if this was 9, this purple line would have to contain 9, 8, 7, and 6. And that digit wouldn't work. So 9 in this column...
Yeah, he phrased it in an interesting way. So I would have phrased this as a completely independent deduction and said, in column 8, where do 8 and 9 go? Well, they don't both go on the Nabner. They don't go anywhere else. So N8 or 9 goes in row 9, column 8. And then I would have asked, okay, well, putting these 2 pencil marks together, it's then forced. Whereas what Simon said... in his brain was, okay, well, this pencil mark guarantees me that this cell, the one thing that this has told me about this cell is that it's not 9, so therefore there definitely is a 9 on here, and then went back and got that. So rather than asking about the pair of 8 and 9 together, asking about just 9 and being able to chase the 9 through it, which is interesting.
On the Nabna line, because it can't be on an arrow, adding up to 6 or 7, obviously. So 8 in this column. This is lovely. Oh, that is sick. Yeah, okay. So now in this column, where does 8 go? Well, 8 can't go on an arrow adding up to 6 or 7.
I love
8
Simon's
excitement
solving puzzles. It's so much fun to watch.
8 goes there, which is on a line, which makes this a 5 in the corner. Because that digit has to be capable of being in a consecutive sequence 4 cells long with an 8, and the only option that works is 5. So this is 5, this is 6, 7. This isn't, we're away here. We are away. We've actually, I think, hit upon the right idea for once. Because now this is 5 in box number 3. This square is a 1 or a 2. Ooh, how does that work? Well, we're adding up to 6 or 7, so we can't use 1. 2 and 4 would just work, wouldn't it? But so would 3 and 4. Oh, is this always 4? Sorry, is that the point? Yes, of course. This is always 4 because 2 plus 3 only adds up to 5. Come on, Simon, use your brain. Right. Come on. I'm sure we're getting closer now. We need to put... it's actually... These weird yellow lines are surprisingly powerful, because I've just noticed something else about this column, which is, where does 4 go? And the answer is, I haven't really got a clue. I know it's on this line, but the moment you put 4 on the line, now this whole column basically gets resolved. Because, well, it's not the whole column, but now we should ask, where does 3 go? In this column, and it can't go on the line anymore, so it must go here, and that means that becomes a 1, that becomes a 3, that becomes a 2, that becomes a 6, that must be a 7, that must be a 2. This is a 2 by Sudoku. And now I know what's on this line, and hopefully we'll find that none of the digits are 1, 4, 6, and 9, and none of those are consecutive with one another. So that does seem sensible. 4 comes out of these squares. 7 has got to be on the whisper somewhere. So if 7's got to go with 1. That's right. Look at this. Right, 7 is on the whisper. Now 7 is bigamous, so if we put 7 in the middle of the whisper, it would only be able to partner 1 and 2 above and below it, and it can't have 2 on it. So 7 can't be in the middle of the whisper, which means 7 is on the edge of the whisper, where it can't partner 2 as its partner. It's going to have to partner 1. So one of those two squares is a 1. Yeah, it's one of those occasions where I feel like I probably ought to know which way round that goes, and I don't. So I've got the whichever of 8 and 9. Oh, and 3 is the other digit that I've got to put in here.
Yeah, the row 9 whisper is sort of calling out because this conveniently ate up all but one high digit in row 9, and so there is a free 9 here, which is going to sort of call out some of this, if you are so inclined.
Here, this would be 1. Oh, yeah, okay, the 3, look. 3 in this column has to be down here.
There we go.
So
probably doesn't go with a 1.
So this can't be the 3, because if that's a 3, that's the 1 on the green line, and 3 and 1 are not 5 apart. This is beautiful. It's not that difficult, but it's just every little. You can totally clearly see the next intended step. Zetamath has this quality whereby, if you find yourself looking at an area of the puzzle for ages, sort of, wrestling away with it, you're probably not looking at the right point, because he always does something that's clever, that allows you to figure things out. So look, this line's basically done now. This square's a 9 because it can't be an 8 by Sudoku. So that fixes the top of the grid. We've done column 9 out of.
I do really like it when there's a very clear, I do really like it when there's a step that once you find it, you're sure you found the thing that I intended you to find. That's the thing I go for. I'm okay if it's easy or hard or whatever, but I like that sort of that moment, as Clover likes to say, that moment of communication. Whereas the solver, you had a moment where you had the exact sort of combination of brain cell thoughts that the setter intended. I really enjoy those moments.
Absolutely nowhere. Now, what's going on down here? We can take one out of those squares. So this is a 6-9 pair. So this is a 1-4 pair. These two squares are 5 and 8. That's one of those is touching the purple line. And these squares are 2, 6, and 7. And that could be 2, just. Can only be 2 if that's 5, and that's a 3-4 pair. Which would make this a 1. Which probably does something I don't understand to the Napner lines. Okay. Oh, alright. I'm going to use the green line at the bottom then. Because what do we know about a green line? It oscillates polarity. So at least one of these digits has to be from 6, 7, 8 or 9, and 6, 7 and 8 aren't available. So the 9's going to have to sit in the middle of digits that are low. Because if we try and put the 9 on one edge, the other edge is going to have to be from 6, 7, 8, 9, and it can't be. Right, so these two squares are now low as well. We've got a sort of 1, 2, 3, 4 quadruple in the bottom row. But we don't actually know very much about...
Now
That
we
being
do.
9 is huge. This is what's going to disambiguate the 4s and the 6s. Look, got you. 9, 1, 6, 4 to make those work. So this digit can't be 7 or 8 because it would be too close to 9. So this is a 7, 8 pair. And that
Simon does the Sudoku.
3.
Yep.
And we don't actually know. I don't think we know which way round they go. Might be wrong about that. The bulb of the thermometer now cannot be 1, 2, 3, or 4, or 6. So it could be 7. Oh, it could be 7, 8, 9. Oh, you rotten thing. Well, the fact it could be 7 means it probably is 7. It's either... well, it's either 5 or 7, isn't it? So that's only got 2 options.
This thermo lets you sort of skip ahead a little bit, which I was a little unhappy with, but because the thermo was the very last clue added. It does let you sort of jump ahead a little bit, but it worked well enough and was quiet enough that I just left it as it was.
This line... oh, I see. That's really peculiar. I think. Yeah. Look at this line. So this is... we've got to put 3 digits on here that are not consecutive. And we're selecting from the digits 2 to 8 because 1 and 9 have gone in the column. But more than that, 6 has gone as well. So one question, well, the question that occurred to me was, is it possible to make this line work if it doesn't have a 7 or an 8 on it? And I don't think it is, because these digits, these 3 digits, would be selected from 2, 3, 4 and 5. And I can't select 3 digits from 2, 3, 4 and 5 and not have 2 of them be consecutive. I could select 3 from 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 by having 1, 3 and 5, but not 2, 3, 4 and 5.
He's definitely getting the Nabner logic
I think
here.
I said 1, 3, 4 and 5. I meant to say 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, obviously. Sorry. Yeah, no, that's fine. 1 is not available. So 2, 3... so if there's no 7 or 8 in here, it doesn't work. 2, 3, 4 and 5 is not enough. So there is a 7 or an 8 in here.
never place a 9 when you could use a Nabner to create a virtual pair. I mean, what more could you want? To create a virtual pair that's going to put the useless digit in the bulb of a thermo.
which pairs up with this and forces this to be 5. So these digits, so this is from 6, 7 and 8, and that's from 7, 8 and 9. That's not 8. So we need to force this one up a bit. If we can force this not to be 6, then we know this is 9.
Any two digits anywhere can't be consecutive, so you could never have a 2 and a 3 on the line. It's a Nabner line is no pair of digits anywhere on the line are either the same or consecutive.
Oh, no, sorry. All right, no, there's much easier. There's much lower hanging fruit to be garnered and to be harvested here. 9, where does it go in column 2? It can't go on a 2-cell arrow, or the circle's going to be at least a 10. So we can write 9 in there, which gives us a 9 here, which gives us a 6 here. 6 is nearly difficult. Oh, do we know... Ah, okay, I roughly know what that is, don't I? Hang on. I know there's a 7 or an 8 on the yellow line. So in this column, this square is from 2, 3 and 4.
Dorlira asks who came up with Nabner lines. So non-consecutive lines I know at least date back to Bastien Valjean. I don't think Bastions had the rule that you couldn't repeat digits on them, which is what I used when I made the first puzzle. So the name Nabner I came up with, although I'm sure someone else came up with it as well, because it's not a particularly creative name for the constraint. So like it's possible that this exact combination, including the not repeating, which I guess is not really part of this puzzle, it's possible the exact combination was me, but certainly, and like all ideas, there's nothing new under the sun in some sense. This is certainly something that people have come up with before.
Oh yeah, okay, I see. Right. So that means that... Well,
Codex says something that's true. Is like, yeah, very often you can count on Simon to not find the skip, but to find the deduction you intended anyway, because Simon is very good at sort of soul reading the setter, I feel like, at least when it's me, of finding the exact way that I phrased it, even if no one else does.
I think the question I need to ask is, where does 3 go in this column? Because if I put 3 on the yellow line, there's going to be a 2 or a 4 on this yellow line, which is consecutive with 3. Because I've got one of these digits is a 7 or an 8, so 2 of them have to be selected from 2, 3 and 4. So we're going to have to make those 2 digits 2 and 4. So this is a 3. Which doesn't actually seem to tell me very much about anything. Let's actually fill this in really fully. So it's 2, 4, 7 or 8, although nothing is getting resolved by that. The 9 arrow... Ah, yeah, okay, so the 9 arrow now is not 2, 7, 3, 6 or 4, 5. So that's 1, 8 not resolved, apparently. Well, that means that's not 8. So that's down to 2, 4 or 7. Oh no, okay, 4. Where does 4 go in box 4? Come on, Simon. 4 goes there. Okay. So these squares are two.
Yeah, this has definitely been a full Zeta day. Hopefully, so everyone is getting their fill of
that's
Zeta.
That's not 1 or 2. There's a 1 and a 2 in this column, so that's up to 3 or 4. 1, 8 here means this is 7, this is 8, so a bit more Sudoku to do. This is a 2, 7 pair, that's fine. 2 is in one of those 2 squares in the bottom row. We'll probably have to think about this triangle line. Does it matter that it's a triangle? Does that...
Oh, I hope the quilt is coming along well.
I was wondering whether... There are some puzzles we've done.
So Selena asks, why are the Nabner lines yellow? So in the original puzzle that I called Nabner, I made them a nice, lovely blue that, as it happened, is almost exactly the blue that it's now used for region sumlines. But region sumlines weren't a thing when I made the original Nabner puzzle. So when I went to set this, I tried to dig up a color that didn't look like anything that I saw regularly. Basically, I looked for a color that no one would look at the grid and assume they knew what it was. I made them a little golder than this. These have become a little. This is a less. Well, if these are a little less sauerkrauty, perhaps you could say.
Before, where if you close off the triangle, it affects the logic of what can be on the line, but it doesn't matter here. I think if this line was shown with a gap anywhere in it, but still entering the cell, it would amount to the same thing logically. So
yes, Simon is completely right. I just closed this triangle because I was trying to go with all lines and 90-degree angles through this puzzle. Like I was really trying to go with all straight lines, and then I had to make this Renbon, and I was a little unhappy that this Renbon had a kink in it. And then I was like, well, now this I need to have a non 90-degree angle, but making it a closed triangle, I thought made the aesthetic sort of blend in, even if it sort of like doesn't logically fit. I thought aesthetically it looked okay.
yeah, knowing that these four cells are all on the line, it doesn't matter if that line is closed or not. So if 2 was here, then you couldn't put 1 or 3 on this line, but you could put one of them there.
True, Josh, true.
Okay, sorry, I'm not quite seeing this at the moment. 3, 4, and 6, these squares are from. And that one isn't 3. 3, 4, 6, so this isn't 3. Oh, hang on. This is a 1 in the corner, is it? Let me just think about that. Is that right? Yeah, it seems to be.
Well, let me have a look at the quilts.
1 in the corner. So these squares are not 1. And these two squares are 8 and 5. And 5 is on the line, therefore, so 6 isn't.
Oh, wow.
And 8 is on the line, so 7 isn't. So this square's 2.
You just had to pause to look at the quilts ELSF has been working on. Those are gorgeous. Very nice. I like the color choices, especially.
The 7 is doing work. 7 and 6 can go into the puzzle. So 2, 5, 8 here. 7. Oh, look, 7 has come out of this square and this square. So we get a 9 here and a 6 or an 8 here. That square's not 9. Now, what do we do next? We could... Oh, look, here's a point. 9 is on this Nabna line by Sudoku. So 9 is not there. Which means 8... Right, so 8 is not on the Nabna line. So 8 in box 8 is in one of those 3 squares, and it's almost locked onto this line, which would knock 2 off this square. But 8... Oh, I see. 8 is seeing this square, so that's 5. That's 8. 5 is now... Oh, this is going to be lovely, isn't it? This is going to be lovely if I can just sort it out in my brain. 5 is now knocked onto the Nabna line. So 4 and 6...
Thank you, David. I'm glad you're enjoying it.
On the Nabna line. So 4 comes off. 6 could go here, though. It doesn't have to go up there. Sorry, I'm not quite seeing it. What's the trick here? What do we have to do to make this work?
That is exactly the phrase that he wants to say, D-Web.
Not sure, actually. I think
9 isn't on it, so 5 is.
I just have to work out what it is. If we Can't have 4 or 6 on it.
So the 9 looking
Or
down
is it
there and
this
across.
line?
I always enjoy that.
I've not really worked out. If that's 8, that couldn't be 2. If that's 5, that could be 2, but only with a 3, 4. Oh, that doesn't work. Right. If that's 5 and that's 2, to make this consecutive, this is a 3, 4 pair. But then you've got to select those 4 digits. Would all be selected from 2, 3, and 4. So you'd necessarily repeat one of them. So that's not 2, which means that's 2. That's 2, that's 7. Ah, it's nearly. It's still not right, though.
Yeah,
7 is not...
that's a little trickier. The way I would articulate it is this Renbon is not all low because it has a 5 or an 8 on it. And it's not all high because it doesn't have a 9 on it. And therefore, Renbons with those two properties always have a 5. And that 5 is placed here. That is how I would say what I was thinking.
It's not on this line, but it could still go here. Oh, Bobbin, sorry. Is it back to do with this? So what are we saying here? We're saying that if this is, we know that there's a 6 or a 7 on this line. So 6, 5, 4, 3. 3 is as low as we could go. But we can only go to 3 if this is a 3, 4 pair. And that's going to break this again. So there is no 3 on this line. So 3 in row 7 is here or here. And if there's no 3 on the line, does there have to be 4 on the line or not?
Basically, no. John asks if I know in advance if CTC is going to solve one of my puzzles. Basically, never. Every once in a while, it'll get posted to Twitter, but if I know because it's been posted to Twitter, everyone knows because it's been posted to Twitter, not just me. So only on the very rarest occasions. Like that happened with MIA. It was posted to Twitter in advance because he was doing a sort of YouTube premiere for it. So I knew that one, but that's the only one I think.
And there's no 5 here. So if this is 8. If this is 8, because you can't put 9 on the line, you'd need a 5 in one of these two squares, wouldn't you? Because it would have to have a 5 on the line. And it couldn't because there's a 5 here. Right, so this is 5. Sorry, I've probably been a bit slow about that, but I have finally got there. Look, this is doing things. This is doing things. So this is 5. This is 6 or 7. What did we work out? We worked out there's no 3 on this line. So if this is 6, 5, 6. There has to be a
row
4
column
in one
6
of these
is a complete
squares,
mystery.
isn't there? Or 5. No, there doesn't. If that's 8 and this is a 6, 7 pair, that might work. Sorry, I think that probably does work. Just didn't think of it. Do we have to have... Do we have to have 6 and 7 on this line? Is that the point? If you don't have 6 and 7, you've got... Yes, then you've got a problem. Because if you don't have 6 and 7 on the line, then this would have to go 5, 6, 4, 3, which we know is wrong. So there is a 6.
The danger of the 2, 3, 4 quadruple in the box is definitely a standard Zeta. Like it is a very Zeta setting thing to put as a thing for someone to notice.
6 or a 7 in one of these squares, which pairs up here with a 6, 7. So there's a floating 6, 7 pair in box 8. And that being a 6, 7 knocks 6 out of this square. So now 6 in box 7 has to be here. So these squares, which are on the Nabna line, are from 1, 4. Oh, I see. Ah, it's obvious now. They're from 1, 4, 5, 9. Now, what they cannot, though we know they include a 5, so they can't possibly include a 4, otherwise the basic tenets of Nabna lines would be broken. So that's 159. This is 4. This is 1. A 1 cannot be on a line with a 2, so that's a 3. This is a 4. This is a 2. This is a 2. This is a 3. Ah, we might have cracked it now. Come on. We need 8 here, don't we? And 7, which we can do. Now we can just fill that in. 8 and 7. That's not 7. 159. This is 3. Are the 6s and 7s resolved or not? They probably are. I just can't quite see why. That digit's resolved. That's a 1. So that's not a 1. These squares have got to be 2, 4, and 5, which we can do the 2, can't we?
It was
That's
a
got
1.
to go in the middle. So we get a 4, 5 pair.
Yeah, Jace, today has been a very full Zeta day.
In this column, maybe? Oh, look, that square's not 9 anymore. So there's a 1, 5 pair, which means this has got to be a 4 or a 6. So if that's 6, that's 7. This has to be 4 or 8. Ah! That might work. I don't know. Okay, so what's the simple way of seeing how to finish this? It's probably to pencil mark this digit within an inch of its life. Okay, let's do that. So that could be 4. It could be 6 or 7 or 8.
Simon has not noticed that this 8 has placed an 8 here, which is going to make this a lot easier than his current journey.
Why can't I see? If that's 6, that's 7. Oh, I can't. Oh, is it the 6 and the 8 up here? Oh, sorry, it's the 8. Look, where does 8 go in this box? There we go. That's going to do it for us. So the 8's not here, so the 8 must go there, which means this must, to be consecutive, this has got to be 6. That's got to be 7. That's got to be 6. That's got to be 7. That's now 5, 1, 7. This is 5, 9, 1. This is 5. This is 4. That's a 4, so that's a 9. That's going to be 4, and that's going to be 6. What a brilliant puzzle. That's absolutely brilliant. Yes. And it's finished. 53 minutes. Well, I'm not sure I think that was terribly approachable. It's one of those classic 3 out of 5 ratings on Logic Masters Germany. 113 people in 13 days, so it's averaging a little bit under 10 a day.
Yeah, I would not describe this puzzle as approachable. I feel like approachable has to be a 2. Has to be the bar for approachable on Cracking the Cryptic. Or sorry, on Logic Masters Germany. But this is also a high 3 on Logic Masters Germany, which I only know because I've watched it flit back and forth between 3 and 4. So probably there are some low 3s that you could describe as vaguely approachable. But yeah, I think this definitely is north of approachable in difficulty. Yeah, I think this is my 32nd Cracking the Cryptic feature, John, somewhere in that vicinity. Yeah, thank you very much for the compliments.
And yeah, I mean, is that of average difficulty? Only in a mad, mad world. I mean, if you've never done a Sudoku before and you were faced with that, I dare say you'd find it quite hard. I mean, it's. I think it's really, really talented setting though. This. I mean, it's unsurprising that it's talented given its zetamath, but to have the idea that it's as simple as saying you put 2 green lines in the box, then 5 forced onto the Nabna line forces 4s and 6s into the green, forcing a 1-9 pair here. It's just lovely, isn't it? And then this couldn't have 4 or 6 on it. Yes, so then having the circles here forces the way the polarity works here. That forces how this green line works. You can totally see the structured way that the puzzle has been set. I just love it. I love this sort of thing. A soliloquy. You've listened to my soliloquy for the last 55 minutes. Thank you very much. I hope I didn't bore you too much. Let me know in the comments how you got on with the puzzle. I enjoy the comments, especially when they're kind. And we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.
And our outro music by New Windmill Brennan. So enjoy the outro music. I do always enjoy this, Brennan. And yeah, LMD does averages in a really weird way. Like LMD is very eager to round up to 5 if something is a little north of 4. So anyway, thank you for joining. I hope you enjoyed watching me watch Simon solve that puzzle. I'm quite pleased with how this came out. Oops. Oh, I got there eventually. I was going to sort of just pull up the finished grid. Yeah, I'm quite happy with the solve. That was a lot of fun to watch. I'm glad Simon sort of appreciated the flow of the logic through it. Is always neat. So I have my 200th stream coming up on Saturday. So I won't stream Wednesday and Friday like normal. We'll get you a new streaming schedule soon, but Saturday we'll have a long stream with special guests and all of that kind of thing. So I hope you'll at least stop by and say hi for the 200th stream. I look forward to seeing you then. But for now, I think thanks for watching. And I don't think any surprise additional things are going to come up that are going to mean I'm going to have another surprise stream. But we'll see. We have not yet announced a time. We'll schedule it soon just to make sure. But yes, do please like the stream on your way out. Thank you so much. Yeah, maybe there'll be a Mark feature. Yeah, we've got a few minutes for that. I could get a Mark feature. I haven't had a surprise Mark feature in forever, so I'll be really surprised if I get a Mark feature. We'll just put it that way. But it would be it would be fun and appreciated. I would come back and do a reaction video to it if there was a Mark feature. But thanks for watching, everyone. And I'm gonna duck off for now, and I will see you in the not too distant future. So thanks for watching, and bye for now. And don't forget to watch don't forget to like Cracking the Cryptic's video as well. Thank you, everyone, and I'll see you around very soon. Bye for now.